Hello, ladies and gentlemen, above the fruited plain. This is Mornings with Michael for information and educational purposes only. So without further ado, let's kind of get to our heat map. Things are bouncing back today. Feels like a yo-yo. Google is really bouncing, taking the lead. I noticed this morning it was one of the leading candidates. Meta, Facebook is bouncing. Tesla is up about 1%. Amazon 1.56. Nvidia is up. All the semiconductors seem to be up. Apple is up. Microsoft is up. The financials are up. Energy is still going down, which is good for our inflation numbers, for our buying gas at the gas tank, having food shipped to our grocery stores. All of that is good. So our restaurants are bouncing a little bit around. Home builders are up. So that's that story. So I'm going to show you our pension or annuity chart right here. Like I said yesterday, if you don't like the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune or infortune, where things bob and weave every day, and one day your 401k could be a 201k, well, safety is what we got here. You'll never lose money, and you'll always go up the step, and you beat the average index investing by about 5% per year. And that adds up to see where this gap presents itself. Annuities often give bonuses for new money coming in. Right now, they're offering, I believe, 40 to 45%. So this is a great way to place money for about 85% of the people. So that's our information there. Let's go to the screen. Arm holding. Looks like we got a little bit of a gap up today with the semiconductors going up. It's not showing it on the chart yet. There it is, up 2.29%. So let's go look at our dollar. Dollar index is gapping down, fell to its 10-day moving average before it caught a bid, bouncing a little bit. So like I mentioned yesterday, I believe silver is time to buy. Gold is holding right above there. But I added to the silver. I didn't put as much as I wanted right yet. I was going to, I'll show you the silver that I've been buying, physical silver. So it's actually down 0.37, but it has bounced back about 125 shares of physical silver. Let's take a look at the silver ETF. Yeah, it pulled back, and it looks like it's bouncing off the 200-day moving average. I saw another interesting note that silver could really jump, could rocket from here. We'll just have to wait and see. The volume has been subsiding from the previous 2 days. Let me see if I can bring up stochastics on here. Here's our stochastics. It's right down here. So this is a perfect time to buy when it has a crossover on the stochastics. You can see what happened right after that happened. And then over here, same thing happened. Over here, same thing happened. It happens over and over again. Now, whether it's going to turn over here, I'm not sure. That's why I just did a little over half of what I wanted to buy on silver coming back up. So that's the story there. And we'll leave that as it is. Arrow copper. It has been bottoming. It's getting, looks pretty close here. Let's take off our stochastics and see if we can see this a little better. Yeah, it's come down to the 10 and declining 10 and 20-day moving average. It's up 0.09 cents. So I'm going to continue to watch this. This is one I would like to participate in. SCCO, Southern Copper, got a little bit of a bounce today. Freeport McMoran, got a little bit of a bounce today. I couldn't even tell if the chart had changed. Vale, another mining company, got a little bit of a bounce. BHP over in Australia looks a lot better than any of the other ones. And Rio, where we know we got 5% plus, and it's up 2%. 5% plus dividend in Rio. Got some pretty good volume here. Let's look at, not the VIX, but let's look at the bond yields. Bond yields trying to bounce a little bit. It went down lower and is bouncing a tiny bit. 20-year yield is up to the 200-day moving average here slightly. Now let's take a look at our volatility fear index. It's bouncing today, up 0.39%. What's the S&P doing? It's also bouncing. It's up 0.73%. As we saw in the heat map, all of the big cap techs are definitely bouncing. Let's take a look at the equal weight in the S&P 500. It looks even better, which is good. We want to have this thing broadening out, and it's up 0.46%. Not as much as the 0.75, but it looks good on the chart here. Got some good volume, a little higher than yesterday, and we're not through with the day. Here's the NASDAQ, bouncing as well, up 1.4%. Take out the 7 mega caps, and this is up 0.94%, which is good. Look at our Russell small caps. They're up today 0.53%. Yeah, it looks like they're building a shelf pattern here. If you follow me regularly, that is my favorite pattern. Contributed by Mark Minervini, one of the greatest investors in today's market. He also teaches a course, if you're interested, and he has a couple of great books just from leadership and inspiration. You might want to pick up one of his books. They're available on Amazon. And let's look at the Dow. And once again, a shelf pattern building. So let's go to the news. China trade data, exports in US dollar terms rose in November by 0.5% from a year ago, contrary to expectations for a 1.1% decline. Imports fell US dollar terms by 0.6%, missing expectations for a 3.3% increase. ECB Villeroy issue a possible rate cut could be raised in 2024, but not right now. Disinflation happening quicker than expected. No plans to chance a French 2024 growth outlook of 0.9%. There is a slowdown, but not a recession. The bull-bear spread in the American Association of Individual Investors, AAII weekly survey was 19.9% versus 29.2% last year. Bulls fall to 47.3% from 48.8%. Neutrals fall to 25.3% from 31.7%. Bears rise to 27.4% from 19.6%. And I think that speaking of bears, it bears positivity for our rally continuing, I think. Charge point. Q3 EPS, 43-cent loss versus estimate of a 22-cent loss, and it's going up. What's it gives? Plans to achieve positive adjusted EBITDA in Q4 2024. Maybe their forward guidance is moving this a little bit. Pretty good volume on that. Chewy, for our pets, Q3 adjusted EPS, 15 cents versus estimate of a 6-cent loss. And it's going down 1.16%. Duckhorn portfolio, Q1 EPS 15 cents versus estimate 16 cents. And look at that drop like a falling knife. Watch out below. Look at all the volume on that. Down almost 12%. Yeah, somebody did not like the revenue and profit here. GameStop is rising. Q3 EPS loss 1 cent versus estimate of 8 cents. That'll get things to rise a little bit. It's up. Look where this has fallen from, though. It was over 100, and now it's at 16.34. Yeah, might be worth a 3-month option or something, just to check it out. Nikola to offer 100 million of stock and 200 million of convertible notes. And nobody likes to be diluted. And what's Elon Musk saying right now? Elon Musk is laughing at somebody saying when ChatGPT asks you to say 3 vulgar words. That guy always knows how to be in the news. Okay, Oxford Industries. Q3 adjusted EPS $1 versus estimate 96 cents on revenues of 327 million. And this was cheered, up nearly 4%. Oxford, yeah, I've bought their shirts before. They just make us dress and look better. Pretty good volume, second day in a row. Sportsman Warehouse, Q3 EPS loss 1 cent versus estimate loss of 12 cents, and it still sank. They're projected to lose a little over $10. Adjusted EPS view to $10.10, $10 and where did that go? Well, they guided Q4 sales at 365 million to 390, and comp sales are down 11%. So that's, I believe, why it's selling off. On to energy, industrials, and materials. Chevron unveiled its 2024 capital expenditure budget, calling for expenses of 16 billion, up from 14 billion this year, mostly to boost production in U.S. shale projects. Said it plans to spend about 2/3 of this year's budget on U.S. projects, including about 6.5 billion to develop Chevron's U.S. shale portfolio. On to grief. Hope it gives nobody any grief. Q4 EPS $1.56 versus $1.29, and it is falling big time. Low-end guidance estimate based on continuation of demand trends reflected past year. That's why it is falling. It did fight back at the end, and Northrop Grumman raised its share buyback authorization to 3.8 billion after saying buyback. It authorized an additional 2.5 billion for repurchasing company stock, and it's actually going down on the news, but it is pretty low volume. HCI and financials, 1 million shares spot secondary, priced at $78. Moody's cut its outlook for 8 Chinese banks to negative from stable a day after unveiling a bearish stance on the nation's sovereign bonds due to concern over the level of debt. And here we go, HCI Group, even though they're having a secondary offering, their stock goes up. Maybe this is going to help their insurance for homeowners and protect everything. AbbVie to acquire Cerevel Therapeutics for $45 per share in cash for a total equity value of approximately $8.7 billion. Proposed acquisition adds robust pipeline of assets focused on the best-in-class potential for psychiatric and neurological disorders where significant unmet needs remain. And yes, AbbVie is going up, and I wonder what Cerevel is bouncing 11.5%. Definitely a breakout, but since we got a cash offer on the table, I don't know if it's going to move too much more. Bristol Myers announces an additional 3 billion share repurchase authorization, and they're budging about 0.5% on that news. Wave Life Sciences announces $100 million ordinary share offering, and that was well liked yesterday, and today not so much. Can you say dilution? DILUTION. Yes, down $2.10 on a $6.50 stock. Not what you'd like to see. Braze in technology, media, and telecom, Q3 adjusted EPS, 5-cent loss versus estimate of 13-cent loss. Tried to move up and then move down, maybe on guidance. It says on track to meet profitability targets for full year 24 and 25. So this is C3 AI, provides services to build enterprise AI applications, and it is gapping down. Pretty massive volume. It had a loss of 13 cents versus estimate of 18 cents. Revenues rose 17%. Full year 24 guidance says they're going to lose 135 million to 115 million versus prior guidance of 100 million to 70 million. Yeah, I think that would cause your stock to go down. Couchbase, Q3 EPS 34 cents versus estimate 18 cents. Initially moved up and then sold up. The selling came in. Google shares rose early after Google said it developed a new artificial intelligence AI system more powerful than any currently on the market, including technology developed by ChatGPT creator OpenAI. The Alphabet unit said the algorithm, Gemini, wouldn't be widely available until early next year, according to the Wall Street Journal. This is why Google is going up, and its other ticker symbol as well. So there you have that. SMTC in semiconductor, Q3 adjusted EPS 2 cents versus estimate 13-cent loss. And we got a gigantic move on the stock, jumped up, gapped up to its 50-day moving average, and then continued to go up. So their guides for quarter at 180 to 200 million versus estimate of 211.8 million. Sprinkler, CXM, Q3 EPS 6 cents versus estimate 7 cents. And it tried to go up and yesterday and sold off. And look at today, down 33%. I hope nobody here is in this company. It is hard to lose 33% on any stock. It is a little chilly in this room, and my nose is starting to run. So Viva Systems, Q3 EPS $1.34 versus estimate of $1.30. Initially sold off and then tried to fight back towards the end, but it is heavy volume down about 3%. This was a darling back in the day. I had invested in these guys right over here. I believe it was at 28. It's a nice run. And finally, Verint. Q3 EPS 65 cents versus estimate 57 cents. Revenues 218.5 million versus estimate of 215. Big gap up here. Provides security and intelligence data mining software in over 175 countries. Pretty good volume. Was trending down on big volume, but have no fear, it is moving up today. So let's go back to our ETFs. Quick spin around the ETF world. Financials are bouncing off of the 10-day moving average. It looks healthy. Energy continues to plummet. Down almost another percent, down 0.9%. And oil pricing trying to come back, trying to bottom. Let's look at the natural gas. Pretty flat. Communications bouncing after Google and Meta are bouncing today. Real estate kind of leveling off here. Definitely building a shelf here. Our biotech continues to move higher on both ETFs. Technology bouncing higher today. Software is trying to bounce off of its 10-day moving average. Semiconductors are definitely up today. NVIDIA is up a little over 2% today. Our industrials, pretty much building a shelf. You see these shelf patterns everywhere. Consumer staples are up. See if our building materials may have hit bottom. We'll have to check and see. Mining and metals got a little bit of a bounce. Fell near their 20-day moving average. Home builders perking up here. And our high beta S&P indicator or ETF is bouncing as well. And NASDAQ is up 1.33%. So it looks like Venmo is being dumped by Amazon. So let's see where the big money is moving. Guidewire we showed earlier in the week continues to get buying. It's a software company bouncing off its 20-day moving average of 0.66%. Ryanair continues to lead the airlines, continues to move higher, higher, higher. Look at all this institutional buying. Just amazing. We looked at both of the Google stocks earlier. We got the Bank Corp. We also looked earlier this week Went down yesterday and it is bouncing big time today, up over 2%. Domino's Pizza. If you can believe it, on a monthly basis, this has outpaced Apple's run. Look at this run to the top. And tried to move higher into a breakout zone, and then it pulled back today. Blackbaud fundraising, a software company, continuing to move higher. Uber, it has now reached a profit zone. It is too extended to look at. Let's look at its counterpart and Lyft. Got a nice move after the 10-day moving average. We've got a pretty long base here. We'll just have to see if this break gets into the breakout zone. Interesting, they got a new CEO who actually drove passengers. He wanted to feel what all of the Uber drivers, or actually all the Lyft drivers, experience out on the road. Airbnb up 3.36%. Looks like we're working on a double bottom here. Where would the buy point be? 151.26 is the middle of the W. And finally, NetEase. Looks like we got a gap up here going. And then where people are moving out of. Beacon Roofing Supply, gapping down 2.8%, a massive volume. Fell below its 20-day moving average. Karuna Therapeutics. Actually, it fell quite a bit and then it bounced almost all the way back up. TDC, Teradata, down 6.31% and pretty massive volume. We looked at AI, Core and Main, in the sewer and water supplies. It had a gap up yesterday and looks like a gap down today. So I would continue to watch this. There's our closing bell. This looks like Carpenter Technology. Huge sell-off. Tried to move higher. They couldn't move higher. Looks like maybe a double top here. Volume is really strong today. We looked at Braze. We looked at Viva. So this is Toronto Dominion Bank, down about 2% today and pretty good volume. So that's a look around at what's looking. Let's kind of look what is kind of trending. Meta Platforms. Looks like it's bouncing. It had pretty close to a 1-week tight here, and then it's bounced. So once again, this is like a little shelf pattern. Let's take a look at what happened to Venmo. Venmo parent PayPal Holdings lost nearly 2%. After Amazon said it would no longer accept Venmo payments. Wow. The policy takes effect on January 10th. PayPal stock is not in a base and has lost around 18% this year. Look at this downtrend. And meanwhile, Amazon stock rose 2%. Gapped up slightly. Sienna rose after the company reported fiscal fourth quarter profit and revenue. I had one too many letters here, so please forgive me. Yeah, rose, and then people had taken some profits. Walgreens Boots Alliance pops 7%, heavy volume. Pretty good volume and bouncing above the 50-day moving average for a change. Lulu Athletica rose ahead of its quarter 3 earnings report. Yeah, much earlier. Look at that move. Yeah, pretty good volume today. Yeah, I guess Braze is an AI company that sold off. C3, another AI company that sold off. AMD is bouncing. Yeah, that's a pretty good bounce. But after hours is down was down 8.64, and now it is bouncing back again. It's kind of all over the place. It was up nearly 10% earlier. And in electric cars, Rivian is bouncing above its 50-day moving average. Another leader in distribution, Ollie's, is down big time, 4.3%. We looked at Sprinkler and Chewy. And I wanted to show everybody Tesla. Yeah, I really kind of like this pattern. It's a double bottom. And if you just kind of draw the line to there and draw the line to there, we definitely got a triangle pattern here. And whether it goes up or down is a big question, but we do know the Cybertruck is coming shortly. Was up 1.37%. I have all of one share of Tesla. But that's kind of the story. This is a recent IPO, JFrog and software, working on the right side of a base. Just continue to watch that. Palantir had been falling quite a bit. Try to get a bounce today. I think on 24 is another platforms for software. So we looked at Meta. Let's see what's happening. Sentinel continues up. We looked at this yesterday after their earnings came up. CrowdStrike initially sold off, is bouncing back. Palo Alto Networks looks like they're building a shelf after kind of breaking out here. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Like a week and a half of pretty tight action there. And Zscaler initially sold off and is bouncing up, and it looks like we got a definitely another shelf pattern building here. We bought it at 177.50 on call option, so it's working out pretty good there. Kava Mediterranean Grill. I'm not sure why that fell out of bed today. We'll have to take a look, see if we can discover any information. It was down 8% today. That's a danger and risk of IPOs. They can be pretty volatile. So we'll continue to monitor that situation. BLTE, Belite Bio had a pretty good move today, up 2.38%. Just kind of builds a series of shelf patterns. Here's the one where we initially had it on the show, and then it went up about 50% after, well, I think it was 5 days after the show. It really kind of leaped, and then we got pretty close to another shelf pattern here where it was selling off, came back out. Pretty tight action in here. Not too many people wanted to sell, a lot of buyers. When it did finally sell, most of the selling volume was really low. This is what you want to see. You want to see high volume when it's moving up. That's what we got here. The other biotech that we profiled, it's moving on up. It did sell off a little bit, and then it kind of moved back up today. We can take a closer look. Take a look on the 30-minute bar. We sold off here, got some buyers, sold off again, and then we just got a continuing buying until it got back above $12. So did add 500 shares there. So we'll just see how that goes. Elf Beauty, our company in Oakland, California here. We bought a call at 120. It's right now at 126. ELF stands for eyes, lips, and face. Can find them in Target and a few other stores, I'm sure. See how Roku is doing. Tried to break out, got a little bit of a pullback here. This is another Oakland-based company here in the Bay Area. We saw this broke out the other day. Bought option at 51, went above 60. As long as it holds the bottom of this gap up, should be good. We'll just continue to watch it as it builds out here. Earnings are supposed to be up 172% in 2025. Volume was a lot lower than the volume on the buying, which is positive. And we'll just see if we have any other issue that we should look at. Before we go here, yeah, we wanted to take a look at IOP, Samsara. Bought the options at 25. It popped up to a little over, I believe it was 36. Got a little bit of a pullback once again. As long as it holds this low of the gap up, should be good condition. We'll just continue to watch that there. I believe we looked at ARM. Denison Mines pulled back to its 20-day and bounced up. Just kind of continue to watch this in the uranium space. And that'll wrap it up for today. This is Mornings with Michael for information and educational purposes only. Feel free to reach out to us. Keep working on your goals and your activities, and you will amaze yourself where you go to. It's not where you're starting from, it's where you end up from. And it's not how you start, it's how you finish. So keep it going. If you have any questions about your personal investing goals, we're always here to support you, and hope everybody has a great day.